Okay.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Amanda Lundstedt from Flavor Mag, and I'm here talking to Desiree Akhavan. She's the director and lead actress of Appropriate Behaviour. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thanks for having me, and please excuse the poor sound quality coming from my end. I am in a cafe.
No worries. So to kick off, could you tell us a bit about the movie, your character, and how it all came about, really?
Yeah, so Appropriate Behavior, my elevator pitch is that it's a gay Annie Hall, and I played the lead character, Shirin, who is both trying to win back her ex-girlfriend and come out to her Iranian American family as a bisexual.
Okay, great. I mean, there are a lot of sort of similarities between your character, Shirin, and yourself. So are we right to assume that this was a very personal project for you?
Yeah, I like to say that it's personal and not autobiographical, in that it's clearly inspired by my life and my experiences, but I have to say, like, it's a comedy, so I think Shireen is whiny and obnoxious at times, and it was an experiment in being self-aware and poking fun at my best and worst qualities. So I like to say it's like going on a choose your own adventure
Yeah.
along with me, because there are like things in the film that she does that I would never do. Uh, it was sort of like, what if you always chose the most insane option in life? Like, what if you followed that couple for a weird threesome? What if you started breaking glass, like beer bottles, because you were so angry? Like, a film to me needs to be more exciting, more theatrical than real life.
Yeah, there was kind of a sense of that the script was very natural and it just sort of flowed. Was there any improvisation on set or?
There wasn't. There was just no time for that kind of thing. I would love to do a film that's all improvised, a la Christopher Guest. I really love improvised comedies, and I also really love. I don't know if it's all improvised because I know there was a script. So What We Do in the Shadows is a film I really love. But for this film, we shot in 18 days, and it was just a really fast turnaround. So we were just trying to get it all in the can, and it was not improvised.
Okay. So what was it about this movie that you felt was really important for you to communicate and for people to see or understand?
So it was important to me to have a depiction of a bisexual Iranian. I mean, a bisexual person in general. I never see bisexuals in movies or anywhere being open. But also an Iranian who is, God, it is so fucking loud in here. I'm really sorry.
No,
Please tell me if this is a problem. I don't even know what people are doing right now. It feels like someone's just like ripping tape to irritate me. So it was important to me to also show an LGBT Iranian character, because when I came out of the closet, it was kind of like coming out as a leprechaun. It wasn't something my parents or anyone in my immediate circle of family had ever even heard of, let alone known anyone personally who is gay or identified that way openly. Like when I was years before I came out, Ahmadinejad, the then president of Iran, came to New York, and he said, there are no gay people in Iran. And that really was the mentality. Everything's underground, everything's a secret. And it was important to me to have one outspoken, shameless representation, for good or for bad. I mean, you may hate the film, you may hate me, but at least I exist,
Yeah, yeah. Well, as I mentioned before, I think it's a really important piece of art that you've created. Did you find it difficult at all to direct the movie while at the same time playing the lead role? What was that like on set?
It was actually pretty natural. I felt like one job really enabled the next job. And fortunately, I had incredibly powerful relationships with my collaborators. I get so much of the credit for this movie because it's so personal, but the truth is that I leaned very heavily on my producer, Cecilia Frugiuele. She's a UK-based producer who, basically mapped out the entire script with me. She has a story by credit, and so she was always by the monitor, always my second set of eyes. My cinematographer, Chris Teague, knew exactly what I wanted, so he was able to give so much of himself, because also if it had all been me, it would have been so masturbatory. So I constantly had these much smarter people on the sidelines saying like, hey, let's do this way, that way, and I could lean on them so that I could focus on my job on set and in every stage of production, and then they could enhance and move us forward. So, and then on the other hand too, it's like directing your first feature is such a huge endeavor. To be an actor in the trenches with your cast as a director is priceless. It's such an amazing. I think the scariest thing about directing for the first time is building those relationships with your cast and feeling that you have a shorthand with them. And when you're starring in the film, that's a very easy thing to develop. So I really felt blessed that I was starring in this film.
Yeah,
along with directing it.
Yeah. So have you been directing for long, or was this was obviously your first feature film, but has directing been something that you sort of always wanted to do, or always been doing really behind the sidelines?
Yes and no. When I was growing up, I always wrote plays. I really wanted to be a playwright and an actor. And I grew up in New York City, and I was always going to theater and taking playwriting classes after school, in high school. And when I was 19 at university, I took a film class on a lark, and I fell in love. And I felt like, oh, this makes so much more sense. Because before then, it wasn't like digital was a big thing. It wasn't like today. There wasn't. The internet was dial-up. It was a very different world. No one had internet at home, or they had like one computer that like you'd have to turn off the phone line to turn on your internet, and you like took like 30 minutes for a page to load. So it wasn't like there was this communication between people making shorts. So the idea of making film seemed so foreign to me. But then when I got to university, it was someone explained to me like, actually it's not that hard, and this is how you do it. And I fell in love, and that was about 10, 11 years ago. And ever since then, I started studying film, and I went to graduate school for directing and writing movies.
Yeah. So I'm curious, are there any favorite scenes of yours? I really like the part where Shirin goes bra shopping, and the attendant tells her that she really deserves a fully supportive bra. And I find that there's like something going on like underneath, like it's obviously a very comedic scene, but there's something like unspoken about that whole scenario that she wants to say that. And I would just like to hear from your point of view with that, going into that a bit more about that.
About the bra scene?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. There are a few things going on there. It's, first of all, I am incredibly flat-chested, and I don't know. Sometimes it feels useless wearing a bra, but I also feel like the idea that I should like deny myself of beautiful lingerie and the feminine act of wearing it is absurd. Like I have this back and forth in my head, and it's actually like kind of a trivial pursuit in general. Not pursuit. It's a trivial like thing to even think about, but it is something I think about, and I get this like silent condescension from women with larger breasts a lot of the time, and that's something I wanted to explore. But the truth of the matter, the real essence of the scene was actually about me and my producer, who also happens to be my best friend. And whenever I'm at a low place in life, I get upsold so aggressively by saleswomen. Mostly saleswomen. I'm trying to think about salesmen, and no, it's the bond I make with saleswomen. And like I put my trust in their hands, and then they talk me through experiences. And it's not just even. So it's happened at French lingerie shops before with Cecilia. It's happened at Lush. It's happened at Dwayne Reed in New York. I mean, I really just fall in love with these women, and it's like, oh, I've been doing everything wrong. If only I spent all of my money and effort on, the perfect regime for my hair, I would have perfect hair. That I am just like one purchase away from perfection. And there's like, when you feel like you're losing control of your life, you want like the one thing you can gain control of, and that's always something monetary, like something that you can buy. So it's either like the perfect bra, or like recently, oh God, we were doing press in LA, and I was feeling ill, and I went to this vitamin store to buy some vitamin C. All I wanted was the cheapest vitamin C I could find, and instead this woman comes up to me, and she was like, she looked at me with so much love in her eyes, and she was like, that acne, is it hereditary, or have you always had it? Or is it stress-based? She was like, is that hereditary acne or stress-based? And I looked at her, and I was like, it's hereditary. And she like suddenly she's giving me all these pills, and next thing I knew, I was like $100 of oil absorbing pills in, and I went home with all of it, and it was like mostly expired. I mean, I was such a sucker, but I really felt like she was like, it's not your fault that you have acne, and you can just purchase this ailment away.
Yeah.
It was very articulately put, but she did a beautiful job. I wish she was here with me at this cafe.
So what was your favorite scene?
God, I can talk. Look at me. My favorite scene is the threesome, hands down. A lot of people, we had an executive producer who didn't like it at all in script form, and she was like, I don't get this. And it was such a crapshoot. I knew what I wanted in my head, but I wasn't sure if I could deliver it. And then when I watched the first cut, I know it's very rare as a director that you shoot what's in your head. And it's exactly what I wanted it to be. It's exactly what I imagined. And it really is a collaboration between myself, my cast, and my cinematographer. Because if you look at the camera really is the fourth person in the room, and he's always at the right place at the right time where he captures my expression. And I don't know, it's just, there's no dialogue in that moment. And yet it communicates so much to me. And it was a moment in the script that I had written voiceover, and I realized in post that I didn't need that. And there's something, I just learned a lot from that experience, that you don't need to shove narrative down people's throat, that if you do your job well and your technicians do their job well, and you communicate with each other and with your cast, you can really communicate something silently that kind of breaks your heart a little bit more than if I had just point blank said everything I wanted to say.
So you premiered it at Sundance, and what was that like? As it's obviously a very personal project, so I can imagine that it was very daunting. Was it?
You know what? It wasn't daunting at all. Maybe it's like dumb luck or like lack of awareness. I was like a kid in a candy store. It was such a dream come true. It's like very rare in life that you set a dream for yourself and you attain it. Or at least in my life it had been. It was the very first time where I was like, I want that, and I got it. Like, I didn't get into the college I wanted to get into. I never like got the boyfriend or girlfriend I wanted. Like, it was always like struggle. And then, but finding like happiness in the second-rate prize you get, always, like you're like, well, it didn't work out, but it worked out better. But this was one of the very rare moments in my life where I was like, getting into Sundance would be the ultimate fantasy dream come true. And it happened. So when I got there, I wasn't scared because I didn't expect anything. I was like, my dream already came true. This is all gravy. It really was gravy. Like, I didn't expect a big sale. I didn't expect the critical praise we got. I didn't expect any of it. And so whatever happened, I was like, I really hope I meet Marjan Satrapi. She had a film there, and I'm a really big fan of hers. So I was like, I just want to be in the same room as her. And I was, so it was really cool.
Cool. So obviously it's got, as you mentioned, it's gotten really good feedback. And I'm just curious what the reaction has been like in the Iranian community.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's funny because we speak of the Iranian community as though it's this like tangible thing. Like, I can go onto the Iranian community website and read the react, just be like, done, that's it. Like, I don't know. Every time I have a screening, like, the Iranians are the meanest to my face. Like, usually people are quite nice to me, and the Iranians will come up and be like, I didn't like your music, or like, that was stupid. And so you're like, okay, thanks. So a handful of Iranians in Australia thought it was stupid. They said it to my face, but I don't know what most people think. I don't know. People have been really polite to me, the ones that I knew. I try not to think about how other people are going to respond to my work. It's funny because, so today I have a piece up in The Guardian, and last night it went up, and I started reading comments, and they were the meanest things I've ever read about myself, like aggressive, angry responses to my article. And it really hurt me for the first hour. I was actually really upset. And then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, wait, I am so proud of this article. Like, this is 100% me. I can't deny it. I stand behind every word of it. And, like, people have the right to not like it. It's totally people's right to not agree with me. It's totally someone's right to think that I am doing a disservice to the Iranian community. That's their opinion. But I really stand behind this film, so I don't really give a shit. And I feel the same way about the Guardian thing. It's like I stopped reading them, and like there's a lot of memes. Like every second of the day, another mean thing is thought about me on this particular article. It'll disappear next week. No one will care. But at this moment in time, people are thinking I'm a bad whatever, and that's okay because I actually like. I really believe in what I do.
Yeah, well, it's definitely thought-provoking. So would you then say that this film is a form of activism in a way? Is that how you intended it to be, or is that just something that sort of happened?
Yes, I would say this film is a form of activism. I think I'm the world's laziest activist in that I'm doing what I'd be doing anyway. And it is activism, but at the same time, like, I don't go into anything with an agenda. But I think when you happen to be born in a marginalized community and you think that your voice is worth being heard, you become an activist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
So as a woman, you know, a female director, you become an activist. As a gay person, you become an activist. As an Iranian who doesn't want to villainize or victimize their characters, you're an activist. Like, it's just a natural flow if you're doing a service to the work.
Yeah, well, I think that the movie's great, and I hope that all of our readers go and see it. Thank you so much again for taking the time to talk with me today, and
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You have a good day too.
Thank you. Bye.